everybody. We are back again for the final 2 weeks of the NFL
regular season.
We are already through week 17. We have to recap week 17, and then we will, which was a very interesting week to say the least. And then we might have a dumpster fire in the middle there, and then we're going to recap the last week of the regular season. Boo. I'm already ready for next year's football. We haven't got done with this year's football yet. But let's jump into week 17. Do a little recap on it. Thursday night football. We had the privilege to go to that game. It was a fun game to go to.
The Cowboys covered that spread pretty easily.
The Cowboys, it did surprise me. It surprised me.
But Dak did throw a couple of interceptions. He's thrown the most interceptions he's had his whole career.
Yeah, he threw a couple picks and could have had another one in there. Who knows? But the Cowboys won.
But you could see.
I still think they lose in round one of the playoffs.
Because you like to crap on Kellen Moore.
I love the Cowboys. They're my favorite team. But I do not like the owner or the coaches right now. No.
But Todd Downing is probably just as bad as
Todd Downing. Hey, congratulations to Dobbs, by the way. He came in and actually threw for 231 yards and a TD and ran in some situations. He actually looked pretty good. Good enough to where he's the starter for week 18 for him, for their chance to beat Jacksonville and go to the playoffs. So congratulations to Josh Dobbs. TC in here for him.
But I hope Todd Downing doesn't try to handcuff him.
I don't know. We will find out. We will find out.
If he does handcuff Joshua Dobbs, I will not relent.
But the Cowboys are in the playoffs now.
Yeah, they are.
And they'll play the winner.
Well into the thick of the playoffs.
They'll play the winner of the NFC South division. So, which is just going to be the Bucs, probably. So, we'll just go ahead and get into that. Panthers at the Buccaneers. The Bucs had a chance.
And they got it because Tom Brady, it seemed like Todd Bowles was going to pull a Todd Bowles there for a minute, but Tom said, screw that.
Brady's still Brady. He's still going to find a way to get into the playoffs, and he's into the playoffs. So we will have the Cowboys at Tampa Bay, probably. The last week of the season might change but probably it's going to be the Cowboys at the Bucs.
It seems like Tom Brady just dragged Todd Bowles' rear end to the playoffs, really.
He drug him right along, yeah. But congrats to the Bucs making the playoffs.
Thank you for exposing Sam Darnold. Thank you.
Well, it was close. It was 30-24. I mean, I'm expecting next year for a complete redo of the team. I'm expecting a new head coach. Jim Harbaugh has been doing a little fishing around Carolina. Sean Payton's been fishing around Carolina a little bit. We're not for sure what's going to happen yet, but it looks like they're shooting for some big names there anyway. Yeah. So which is really, really good. We'll jump into the next game. The Cardinals at the Falcons. Somebody had to win it. Somebody had to lose it.
And the Cardinals lost it.
And the Cardinals lost it again.
Why does Cliff Kingsbury have a job?
I don't think he probably will much longer. I just kind of feel the Cardinals are ready to change some things up. I could be wrong.
Probably.
But
J.J. Watt's retiring, so you gotta...
congrats to J.J. Watt. He's one of my favorite players that's played for the past 15 years too. So congrats to him. But the Falcons won. Cardinals lost. Neither one are in the playoffs, so didn't mean a whole lot.
Nowhere near the playoffs.
No, didn't really mean a lot. We had the Bears at the Lions. Oh my.
The Lions exploded.
They lost last week. Down, and they scored 40 points this week. That's how that's went the entire year, ain't it? Yep. The Bears only have 10 points, and Justin Fields is out for the final game. So their season's over again, just like normal.
The Bears lose and the Texans win. They get the number 1 pick.
The Lions have a chance
to make the playoffs,
but only a slim.
They got to beat the Packers and hope the Seahawks lose.
Yeah, so it's a slim chance. We had the Broncos at the Chiefs. Closer game than what everybody had predicted.
I guess that's what life without Hackett is. The
Hacketless Broncos looked decent. They scored 24 points and held the Chiefs to 27. 27-24. Maybe Russell Wilson wasn't the problem. I don't know, maybe. Like I've said that all year. Russell Wilson's a pretty good quarterback. He ain't that bad.
I mean,
you don't go from a Pro Bowl to the worst quarterback ever
in 1 year.
In 1 year without some bad coaching, and that's what was there. And I'm not saying the Broncos are going to win the Super Bowl next year, but they looked a whole lot better this week. Congrats to the Chiefs on winning that game. The Dolphins at the Patriots.
Despite having Matt Patricia as your offensive play caller, which is problematic.
Both of those teams needed this game. Tua was out for Miami, though, which put in Teddy Bridgewater. Teddy Bridgewater's not a bad quarterback, but he's not fantastic. And then he broke his pinky. And then the third-string quarterback came in, and the Patriots won. So yep. Miami is as good as eliminated, probably. I mean, they got a slim chance. We'll talk about that here in a minute. But New England has the probably the best track to make it to the playoffs now. And again, we'll talk about that here in a few minutes. When we get into Week 18 here on our predictions, we'll talk about who we think is going to be in there on those last ones. But congrats to the Pats. Colts at the Giants. Guess who's in the playoffs?
The G-Man.
The G-Man. The Giants are in the playoffs, 38-10.
And they did it without a single wide receiver that's at least a good one.
Last year, they were getting rid of Daniel Jones. He was horrible. You need to redo this team, kick everybody out. You bring in a good coach, and all of a sudden, they're in the playoffs. Coaching is 75% of the game. Get mad at me if you want to. Almost all the players in that field are good players, or they wouldn't have been drafted. I mean, I know some of them you draft in there and they turn out to be busts, but most players are actually really good, talented players. If you put them in a good system, if you coach them well, then you can get a good quality product out of them. Like the Giants don't have the best players in the league by no means, but the coaching made them a playoff team.
9-6-1 is just good enough.
Yeah, and then they can win the last week and be 10-6-1. They can have a 10-win season
without a
good wide receiver on the team. So
Daniel Jones and the Saquon Barkley.
Mm-hmm. Good coaching and a few good players, and you can go to the playoffs.
Plus, Saquon Barkley's resurgence also helps.
Yeah, it does. And, maybe he just likes his coach. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, I was crapping on Joe Judge all last year, and you bring Brian Dable in, and he gets you to the playoffs year one.
Year one, with the players everybody was wanting to get rid of last year. We had the Saints at the hurtless Eagles, and the Eagles got hurt.
Yeah, it was hurt to watch.
It hurt to watch the game.
Jeez.
Saints won 20-10. The Eagles.
So much for Minshew mania, man.
Yeah, Minshew. The Minshew magic was not there. The mustache Minshew magic was not there.
A.J. Brown was getting frustrated there with him.
Yeah, A.J. Brown got frustrated, and maybe Hurts is better than what people were saying. He's a pretty good quarterback. The Eagles look horrible without him, so that means he's probably a pretty good quarterback.
Yes, yeah. He's not a system QB.
He is not a system QB. He's a pretty good quarterback, yeah. The Saints, they don't have any chance of getting into the playoffs, so it was just a good win for them. Had the Browns at the Commanders, and Carson Wentz
turned into his golden boy form in the worst possible time.
He was in the giving spirit, and he gave away some interceptions.
A lot of interceptions.
How many did he have for the game anyways? 3 picks. Yeah, he was back to his old self.
Carson Wentz.
Giving the ball away. Carson Wentz. The W's gone. He didn't get any W's this week. So
he's probably not going to get it back again for another
No,
week.
And with that, the Commanders
are eliminated
for the playoffs. So
Browns spoiled their season.
Good luck next year.
How do you make Joe Woods look like Wade Phillips?
Carson Wentz. I don't know why they took out Heineke at the very end of the season. That made a lot of sense to me.
They had a better record with Heineke than they did with Wentz.
The Commanders are the Commanders for a reason.
There's a reason why they changed their name.
Yes.
They're unrecognizable.
Yes, they are. We had the Jaguars at the Texans. Jaguars are clicking at the right time, 31-3.
Yep.
So right now the Jaguars lead.
Good old Doug Peterson.
They lead the AFC South. And right now are in the playoffs, pending the final game. And we'll talk about that here in a minute.
Even then, they could still make the playoffs.
But you bring in a pretty good coach, that took the Eagles to the Super Bowl.
And then you get to the playoffs.
And then you get to the playoffs. Again, this same team last year, that was a dumpster fire. This year is leading their division. And what, they're like 7-1 their last 8 games or something?
Yeah. Oh, yeah, they are.
So, coaching.
Plus Because the Texans are on their way pretty much to a high pick no matter what.
But they won last week.
They're improving.
Well, 2 wins is better than 1 win. So they doubled their wins in 1 week. The 49ers at the Raiders.
Fire Josh McDaniels now.
The Raiders had a little spunk.
They had a little spunk with the new quarterback in there because he was really wanting to play. He was really wanting to show what he was capable of.
And the 49ers had no film on him to stop him. I think that's a huge thing. It takes at least 1 or 2 games of film to see your tendencies before I can build a defense to stop you. So it's really hard playing somebody the very first week that they've ever been on the field because you don't know, unless you've got some super coaches that can pull up a game plan like that and figure out how to stop you during the game, then it's hard to beat a first try quarterback.
Plus, it also doesn't help that you got Josh McDerp on the sidelines right there.
Yeah, and they should have got rid of that guy.
Did you see that there was a fan that almost got kicked out of the stadium by the owner because he had a Fire McDaniels keep car flag? He almost booted them out of the stadium because he wanted to not have a second opinion. It's keep McDaniels, baby.
Yeah. Hey,
keep McDaniels.
We'll see what happens next year because this is going to continue on into next year. So McDaniels will be the coach again next year.
And then every Raider fan is going to dread it. I believe that.
The good thing about the 49ers, they had a game that they could have very easily slipped up and lost, and they pulled it out in overtime. So the 49ers may be the best team in the NFC now with the injuries going on at Philadelphia.
If Hurts comes back healthy, they'll be the best competition there.
Yeah, again, I think it'll come down to the 49ers and the Eagles at the end anyways, and whoever's healthiest might be the one who gets it. We had the Jets at the Seahawks, and the Jets season is over also as they lose 23-6.
The Jets head coach Robert Saleh was trying to defend his offensive coordinator that struggled over the past few weeks, but he says he's going to stick around with Zach Wilson too.
And again, these people this want to keep on. Do you think he'll make it through next year with that system?
I don't think Zach Wilson will make it.
He'll be fired as a head coach in week 10 or 12. I mean, if they go 3-10 again, I mean.
Well, they have such a good roster outside of that, though.
Yeah. They've got good players, so we'll have to wait and see. The Vikings at the Packers. Here comes old man Rodgers.
Oh, boy. Here we go again. Old man Rodgers hearing all the chatter about, the Packers are done. The Packers season is over. Here he comes out of his big old rocking chair, throwing his cane around.
And beats the division-winning Vikings 41-17.
Once again, that Vikings garbage defense. I told you about their
The
stats.
Vikings looks like they might be pretenders instead of contenders.
It's not just because of Kirk Cousins this time. It's because of the defense, too. I told you how bad their stats are last week.
How about that defensive DB for the Packers, keeping Jefferson to
just a single catch?
1 catch. How do you stop the number 1 wide receiver in the league?
You just stuff him up front.
Maybe the Packers defensive coordinator ain't too bad. Because either that or the Vikings offensive coordinator is a moron. We could have either one of those. Maybe a balance of both. Maybe he's pretty stupid and he's pretty good. I don't know. Something happened there. You should not hold Jefferson to 1 catch.
Yeah, that's just not.
No. There should be a screen, a side throw, something to get the man in.
The Packers were pressuring
screen
all game.
Do a wide receiver screen.
All game.
It gets the ball in Jefferson's hand like that and let him do his work.
They didn't call any screens.
Exactly. They didn't call. Jefferson's the best player on your team. Get the ball in his hands here. Do a handoff, end around toss. Something to get the ball in Jefferson's hands.
Somehow Kevin O'Connell didn't scheme him, and that's just stupid.
And you lose 41-17. We had the Rams at the Chargers, and the Chargers are. I'll give him a pass again, 31 to
Do you
10.
think Staley has it finally gripped up?
I don't trust him still. I mean, I still don't trust him.
Do you think he's still stale?
It's like, if you had a friend, that you trusted to catch you from falling, and the first 7 times you fail because he didn't get you, and the last 3 times he's caught you, I'm still worried that he might drop me.
Is that Brandon Staley?
Yes, I'm worried that he might drop me the next time because the first 7 he did. The last 3 he caught me, but the first 7 he dropped me. I'm worried that Staley's going to drop me. I'm worried. I'm still worried the man's going to drop me coming into the playoffs, or coming into next year, he's going to drop me again. So until he's consistent with catching me, then it's hard for me to trust him. So,
But the Chargers are 10-6, and they're in the playoffs.
They are,
and they are the 5th seed.
And that could be a challenge, because if they're the 5th seed, then they'll go into. Well, it's not shake yet, but they could have a favorable matchup. They could. Let's see. We have the Steelers, Ravens. Here come the Steelers too. That last chance to get into the playoffs, trying for one more try to get into the playoffs.
Everyone crapping on Kenny Pickett all year. Oh, the interceptions are terrible.
Oh, what are they? 6-1 their last 7 now. Kenny Pickett's a pretty good quarterback. We said it at the beginning.
And
he's probably going to be a pretty good quarterback.
He's a rookie.
Yeah, he's a rookie, and he's not a bad rookie. And the Steelers are 8-8 now, and if they win their last game, Mike Tomlin still does not have a losing season. They probably won't make the playoffs because of some things that's happened here, but they will. They can finish 9-8 and not have a losing season.
Everyone's crapping on Najee Harris too because he's an injury-prone back. Well, everyone has injuries too.
So was Saquon Barkley. Now look at him this year.
And now look at Najee Harris on that last drive. He caught a great pass.
Mm-hmm.
Last drive.
Najee Harris is going to be a fantastic player. He was just too good at Alabama. He looked too good. And then we'll get into the last game, which was the Monday night game, the Bills and the Bengals. That was the shocker of the week. We never, in all these 30-something years, 40-something years, 50-something years of football,
I've seen something like that.
We've never seen anything like that, where the Bills DB, Hamlin,
just collapsed on the floor.
Tackled Higgins, and his face mask caught.
Just hit him right in the heart.
Caught him right in the heart, caused cardiac arrest, and he went into cardiac arrest right there on the field.
That was scary.
And
I'm not gonna joke around at all.
No, that was
frightening.
That was frightening. So that game, and actually today, as of today, they took the breathing tube out, and he FaceTimed to some of his players and talked to them. So he is back to speaking less than a week,
which is incredible.
Incredible, yeah. So everybody's been praying for him. Everybody's been thinking about him. I think a lot of intercession might have helped out a little bit too. But he's back. Yeah, it seems to be getting well fast. So it's really amazing that he went through that. He had 2 heart attacks. He had one there, and they said he had another one in the ambulance too that they had to bring him back.
That's just horrifying.
So, it's horrifying. Yeah.
That's just big. Some of this stuff is bigger than the game itself.
Yeah, that's what. That's just a game. I mean, we have fun with it. We love watching it, but it is just a game. But
for someone to have a heart issue right on the field that he could have died from,
yeah,
it's just.
It's a little
frightening.
It's a little frightening. But the good news is he is going to be fine. It looks like he's going to be fine. I don't know about him playing football anytime soon.
Because he just had a cardiac arrest. I don't think.
But I would not be surprised if he's back next year. I mean, as fast as he is recovering, I would not be surprised. But this is what happened to the game. The game was canceled. So we had no winner. We had no loser. What that did, it automatically put Kansas City in first place.
Even though that's very minor to point out compared to a human life.
Yeah, but we do have to talk about the ramifications of the sport now. So Kansas City does get first place now. So no matter what, Kansas City has first place. Buffalo has second place. Cincy has third place. Those 3 were fluid with that game, but with that game being canceled, it's pretty much set in stone now. Okay, what that does, New England is playing Buffalo, and New England needs to win the game to pick up the last seed, the 7th seed.
And Buffalo doesn't have anything really to play
Buffalo has nothing to play for, so they're starting Peterman as their quarterback. And
no, the Bears are going to start.
Peterman. The Bears are starting Peterman.
Wrong team.
Yeah, starting Peterman. He was on the
Bills
Pitt
at
was
one
on
time.
does one. But anyways, the Bills have nothing to play for. So
Neither does Cincy.
Neither does Cincy. So I mean, if Kansas City loses to Vegas, then it could change up some things. But more than likely, Buffalo has nothing to play for. So if New England beats Buffalo, which they probably will now, then that eliminates Pittsburgh and Miami. So Pittsburgh and Miami probably won't have much of a chance unless Buffalo just plays fantastic. Now, they might go out there and say, we're going to win one with Hamlin no matter who's playing, and they may go out there and beat New England. But it did change the ramifications of the game a little bit with that. But
Prayers up
all
for
of that-
Damar Hamlin.
all of that doesn't mean all that much. We just prayers for Hamlin. We just got to talk about how it changes the playoff picture a tad bit.
I
there.
hope he comes back next year and becomes like an all-pro safety. Have this great story of him coming back and becoming like a superstar safety for them.
Yeah, I think he will be back. But anyways, that is our recap of Week 17. Now we will talk about our dumpster fire, and we got a good one this week. A dumpster fire of the week.
Dumpster fire of the week.
Yeah. And our dumpster fire is?
The Arizona Cardinals. We got a newbie this week.
We got a newbie, the Arizona Cardinals. I don't know why we haven't picked on them before now, but last year they showed a little promise. They gave their quarterback a $200 million contract, and this year they got 4 wins, and they just lost to the Falcons. Yes, those Falcons.
Yeah, those Atlanta Falcons.
Those Atlanta Falcons just beat you. And
Fall off a cliff. Kingsbury needs to
4
get
wins,
his contract paid out.
4 wins and 12 losses. I wouldn't be surprised if last year, from the contract extensions and the talk, I wouldn't be surprised if they don't get rid of some coaches and get rid of some players. They can't get rid of Kyler Murray now. He's been injured the last third of the season, and they're saying he might not even be back for game 1 of next year. So he's not going to be able to do any of the drills over the summer to get ready for next fall.
Nope, he ain't.
No reps, no practice with his wide receivers.
And
So
you got to get rid of somebody for this disastrous season.
mhm.
You were expected to compete for the playoffs, and you just completely flatlined.
When you lose to the Falcons,
It shows how far you've fallen.
because the Falcons, everybody's thinking how bad the Falcons are this year. The Falcons are 6-10. Cardinals are 4-12.
They are the low-key bad team that we haven't really
Yeah,
talked
they're
about.
the really 3rd or 4th worst team in the league that we really haven't dwelled on this much.
But fall off a cliff, Kingsbury. I'm sorry for that joke.
Yeah, fall off a cliff. Kingsbury has fallen off the cliff. So
I think that's funny.
that is funny. And their last game of the year, they're playing the 49ers. So you're looking at 4-13.
Well, at least you get a good draft pick.
Yeah, you get a good draft pick, but who you gonna take?
I don't know.
I mean, they've already got a pretty dang stacked offense.
What do you do?
With Connor and
What
Hopkins
do you
and
do?
a $200 million quarterback? Pretty good tight end there. Do you pull in one of those top defensive ends that are out there? There are some pretty good defensive ends out there in speculation. So maybe you bring in somebody to replace J.J. Watt. Maybe, and then just see how it goes. But anyways, the Cardinals are our dumpster fire of the week. Now let's go ahead and jump into the final regular season week. I hate even saying that.
Yeah.
We've got 2 games on Saturday. The very first one is Chiefs Raiders, and we're gonna go ahead and get that game out of the way. Early in the weekend, the Chiefs are gonna win it. Yeah, Chiefs are favored by 9. They'll win.
Okay, compare this. I'm glad this is the last time I'm going to talk about McDaniels. Josh McDaniels against Andy Reid.
Oh, that's night and day. That's night and day. Yeah, night and day. But if the Chiefs win this, which we think they will, that will solidify their first place in the
At least the Raiders
AFC.
have a decent first round pick.
That's why we were saying the Chiefs are probably the first round, the first pick. I mean, not the first pick, the first place in the AFC. They should have the bye week. Or now, the NFL may change some things up with that. You might want to look that up too. There's a lot of scenarios going on. They may make it, since the Bills didn't get to play the last game, because if the Bills would have won that game, they would have been in first place. So they may let the first team pick whether they want the bye or they want home field. So this may be a little weird, and we'll talk about it more after week 18. They'll come out with what they're going to actually do. Right now, in the standard position, Kansas City should win the AFC and have first place with the only one bye this year. There's only one bye because of 7 playoff teams. So we'll just see what happens with that. And then after that, we got the Titans at the Jaguars.
Huge game.
Yeah, whoever wins this wins the FC South. Whoever loses, see you next year. It's over.
Oh, but Todd Downing has something to say about it.
Yep.
Oh, boy.
Jacksonville is favored by 6.5. I think that's too much, though. Jacksonville has the momentum. They're at home. Tennessee's got the bad offensive coordinator. But 6.5 is too much for me. I think this is a field goal game. Tennessee could win it with a field goal. But I don't think it's 6.5, so I probably will take Tennessee plus 6.5, just because I don't think it's a 7-point game. I don't think it's 27-20. Not for a team, not for a game that you're going to pull out every stop you have.
Yep, that means it's a do or die game.
And you have a healthy Henry back.
Yep.
So if you have a healthy Henry protecting a Dobbs from getting rushed too much, and Dobbs can rush also, plus throw, I think it's a field goal game.
Unless Todd Downing does the typical tight end sweep.
Unless he does the tight end sweep on 3rd and 1.
And puts Henry out in the shotgun like he always does.
And then has to pack. I don't know. Todd Downing is a bad coordinator. But we'll take the Titans plus 6.5. We got the Panthers at the Saints.
I just want us to lose this last game to get better draft positioning.
Yeah, New Orleans minus 3.5. We'll just take New Orleans then. We'll just go ahead and get it with. Got the Buccaneers at the Falcons.
This should be a warm-up game for Tommy Boy.
Yeah, the Falcons are actually favored by 4. The Buccaneers really don't need this game now, do they?
They don't really need it. They already have the division.
So, again, it's hard to pick games when they'll probably rest players. But I'm not going to take the Falcons minus anything. I'm sorry. I can't take the Falcons. I'll take the Bucks plus 4 if they play their third-string players. I just can't take the Falcons. I'm sorry. We got the Patriots at the Bills.
Patriots win. They're in the playoffs.
Buffalo is favored by 7. I don't know, because if Buffalo says we're going to go out there and we're going to win one for Hamlin, then they may beat them, but it may be a 43-13 game if the Buffalo does that. But New England's playing for their playoff lives. So if Buffalo gets behind by 10 points by halftime, they may go ahead and sit their players and say, wow, there ain't no reason to hurt anybody. So I'll probably take New England plus 7 just for that reason. Because even if the Bills win, if the Bills win, it's probably going to be 10 or 15, 20 points. But if New England wins, then it covers your spread anyways. As I said, it's hard to pick these last games. But New England plus 7 is pretty good in this situation. Got the Vikings at the Bears.
The Bears are a disaster on a football field. The Vikings are an inconsistent team.
But Justin Fields is not playing.
And that gives the Vikings the green light.
We will take the Vikings minus 5.5. Got the Ravens at the Bengals.
This game doesn't really matter because the Bengals have a division title wrapped up, but Baltimore can get a leg up on the Chargers if they win this game.
Cincinnati's favored by 9 in this game. But we probably still will not have back Lamar Jackson.
Probably. So I might pick Cincy here.
I think, Baltimore's been struggling lately. I think Bengals even playing half the game might actually win by 10 points probably. Texans at the Colts. Colts are favored to win this game. You don't hear that much this year. Colts are favored to win by 2.5.
With how much better the Texans have been playing despite the record being awful, the Colts have been playing worse football, I would argue.
Yeah.
Because I just want the Texans to put the Colts out of their disastrous quarterback carousel swept your coach out, disaster, bombshell of a season.
Yeah.
Just put them out of their misery.
So you're going to go Texans plus 2.5 then?
Yeah, I'll go Texans because I can't stand looking at that Colts offense.
We got the Jets at the Dolphins. The Dolphins need this to have any chance of getting into the playoffs, which I think probably is not going to happen. I think they're going to be on the outside looking in. Same as
They got
Pittsburgh.
Skylar Thompson coming in.
Yeah.
They got their backup in.
Mm-hmm. So Miami's favored by 3.
Because they couldn't keep Tua healthy all year.
No, because maybe you want to get an offensive line with the draft this year, maybe some protection. But I'm honestly, I'll probably still take the Dolphins because the Jets have looked pathetic this year. So Dolphins minus 3.
Good Jets, Allen.
Yes.
Better luck next year.
Better luck next year. Browns Steelers. Pittsburgh's favored by 2.5.
You want to take the Steelers? Or do you want to take the Browns to spoil it?
Spoilers, or does Tomlin get his 9-8 season?
It's up to you.
Oh, that's a tough one to pick, ain't it?
Pittsburgh really needs this.
Yeah, the only thing that might be is it's in Pittsburgh. So I would probably lean towards Pittsburgh since it's in Pittsburgh. So we'll do Pittsburgh minus 2.5. Chargers at the Broncos.
Dear Lord. At least the Broncos can wash the stain of this season out of their mouths.
Broncos are favored by 3 now without Hackett. Chargers don't have a lot to play for. Maybe, they might be able to jump up 1 spot in the playoffs. I guess it depends on which team they want to match up with. But I'm
going to say Chargers here.
Chargers plus 3. I mean, you got points to play with there, yeah. And then one of the bigger games of the week, Giants at the Eagles. The Eagles need this win to keep first place.
And the Giants, sure, they don't have much else to play for other than they got the playoffs right in hand.
But you could beat the Eagles.
But you could beat the Eagles and go into the playoffs hot.
And not have to go to Philadelphia if you go to the playoffs again.
Yep.
Because the playoffs wouldn't go through that. Well, they still could. Philly's favored by 14. So I'll take the Giants plus 14.
But if the Cowboys win and the Eagles lose, the Cowboys take their spot and win the NFC East.
Yeah.
How about that?
How about that? I still don't think Philly beats them by 14, even though Hurts is supposed to be back this week, isn't he?
Why not just get hot for the playoffs?
Yeah.
No need to rest your starters.
Got the Cardinals at the 49ers. 49ers are favored by 14.5. I'll probably take 14.5 because the Cardinals are
horrible.
They're horrible. Rams at the Seahawks. Nobody cares. Oh, did I say that out loud? Rams at the Seahawks. Seahawks are favored by 6. I'd probably take the Seahawks. Seahawks could finish with a winning season, 9-8.
Geno Smith is a bright spot for the whole year.
Mm-hmm. He is.
You can build off of his momentum.
Yep. And I think
if the Seahawks win and the Detroit beats the Packers, then they are in the 7th spot.
Yeah, that's what we got. We got the Seahawks, Lions, and Packers fighting for that last one. If the Seahawks win and the Lions beat the Packers, then the Seahawks are in.
But if Baker Mayfield plays spoiler,
which he would probably love to do, but if the Packers beat the Lions, the Packers are in. If the Lions beat the Packers and Baker plays spoiler, then the Lions are in. So we got those 3. There's a lot depending on those last games. Let's do. I will probably take the Seahawks minus 6. Just because it's in Seattle and it's tough to go up there. But we got the Cowboys at the Commanders. Dallas is favored by 7. I think Dallas pulls that.
Despite Kellen Moore being Kellen Moore, I think they win regardless.
Because of Vince and the bad decision-making that they've had at the end of the season. And then we got the Lions-Packers, the 8:20 game. There is no Thursday night game. There is a Monday night game. The last game will be Sunday night at 8:20. The Lions at the Packers
decides everything.
The last game of the regular season, the very last game of the regular season, decides a playoff spot. How awesome is that?
That's a good choice. That's a really good choice.
That is really good. That is a really good choice because we got the 4:25 game. So if the Seahawks win, the Lions know they're out.
And then they can use their frustration on the Packers.
But they could also take the Packers out with them. So that will still be momentum to play.
Yep.
But if the Rams beat the Seahawks, then the Lions and the Packers knows.
They're going to play for a playoff spot.
One of us are going in.
and one of us aren't.
All right. So, man, that last game of the year is going to be fantastic. Green Bay's favored by 5. I'd probably take Green Bay just because Green Bay's on fire right now.
Old man Aaron taking them out of the depths of mediocrity.
I do pick the Packers probably to pick up that last playoff spot. Same as I picked New England in the other half to pick up that last playoff spot. But that's it. That is it for the regular season.
And
when we come back, we will be recapping the last week
and heading into wild card
and
weekend.
talking playoffs. Playoffs?
You're talking
Playoffs? Yes, we are. We're going to be talking some playoffs. But that's it. Hope you had a little fun with us this week. Hit a little like, hit a little subscribe.
Groovy baby button.
Share us with your friends. Hit the groovy baby button. And we'll see you for playoffs.
See you next week.